Really? The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is looking closely at your face. Did the great sage, the equal of heaven, really come? The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is narrowing his eyes at your attire. I felt a strange sense of stability from the gaze. It was a strange feeling to feel at ease from somebody watching me. Prisoner of the Golden Headband. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is looking at you. The great sage, the equal of heaven, had yet to notice. He wasn't sure if I was Kim Dokja or not. Maybe it was due to the story covering my face. I thought for a moment before deciding to give him confidence. That's right, it's me. Silence filled the air. It was a tight silence, like someone taking a breath. After a while, the constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is shocked by your identity. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is asking how you are alive. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is wondering why you're here. The message that flew only at me seemed like it was covering the sky. The great sage, the equal of heaven. He isn't part of the absolute good or absolute evil system. He's in the neutral system. He's playful, but also indifferent. He doesn't easily connect with other constellations due to his temperament. This was the great sage, the equal of heaven, that I knew from Ways of Survival. One of the strongest constellations in Ways of Survival, who fought against numerous constellations and built up a ridiculous myth-grade story. Even so, he died a lonely person without any deep bonds to the end. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband. I listened to the great sage, the equal of heaven's messages while slowly closing my eyes. It was important to trust the information I knew. However, the great sage, the equal of heaven. I'm glad to see you again. The great sage, the equal of heaven, was silent for quite a long time. We might both be constellations, but he had a presence I couldn't catch. Even so, at this moment, I felt like the great sage, the equal of heaven, was right in front of me. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband has sweet lips for a long time. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is repeatedly grabbing and releasing his hair. The next moment, something fell from the sky. I unintentionally caught it. It was the hair of the great sage, the equal of heaven. I couldn't stop laughing. Perhaps this was how the great sage, the equal of heaven, showed his trust in someone. Your understanding of the constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband has slightly increased. I spoke towards the great sage, the equal of heaven. The fact that I'm here is a secret. Do you understand? The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is nodding. The constellation was better than I thought, and he would keep my secret well. By the way, how did you come here? Before I could finish speaking, one wall of a collapsed building tilted and someone appeared. It was Jang Hae-young, who appeared with dirt following from him. Fortunately, the fighter was still unharmed. Yu Jung-hyuk, are you okay? The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is making a strange expression. That reminded me. I was still selling Yu Jung-hyuk's name. It was time to tell my real name to Jang Hae-young. I asked about the outside situation. How is it outside? It isn't good. I thought I knew what was going on. The industrial complex was shaking like there was an earthquake. Screams of the citizens came from all over the place, and Jang Hae-young's expression hardened. The Duke is turning the industrial complex into a ruin while looking for you. It would be strange if this place wasn't turned into a wasteland. Once the Duke started the factory, there was no way to stop it. However, it was impossible for me to retreat now. How are the executioners? There's only one left. He's good at running. The blood of the demons on Jang Hae-young's cheeks covered up the aura of a fighter. It was a remarkable achievement considering the short time. Take care of the remaining one, then the Duke. As I spoke, sparks appeared around my face. My knees instantly lost strength. Hey, you! The amazed Jang Hae-young ran over and grabbed my shoulder. My skin started cracking apart. Your broken story is collapsing. The exile penalty will resume. The durability of your incarnation body is at a dangerous level. This damn incarnation body wasn't easy. The name of Sunfish might fit me better than Yu Jung-hyuk. Biyu. Ah! I called out, and Biyu's fingers moved through the air. Then a scenario message popped up. A new sub-scenario has arrived. Sub-scenario, story repair. Category, sub. Difficulty level, D. Clear conditions, restore the durability of your incarnation body to a certain level. Time limit, none. Compensation, none. Failure, blank. It was a scenario I had requested from BU in advance. Originally, it would be impossible to use the sub-scenarios for personal gains. A formal channel of the Bureau would never have allowed it. The sub-scenario has alleviated the exile penalty. Thanks to BU's scenario, the anguish of my incarnation body was reduced. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is interested in the way you use the scenario. 800 coins have been sponsored. Normally, I would have received a barrage of criticism from other constellations, but in this case, there wasn't a fuss because there was no compensation. In any case, now I was in exile and had to constantly receive scenarios. I had to stick to this until I entered the main scenario. The acquisition of a sub-scenario has delayed the collapse of your incarnation body. I barely managed to sigh and met the worried eyes of BU. I deliberately smiled. I'm fine, so don't worry. BU moved her head and disappeared. She had managed the scenario throughout the industrial complex, so BU would be feeling hectic right now. The sparks around my body fell silent and Zhang Haiyang asked, Are you really okay? I can hold on. Where's Eileen? She's with Mark. They're evacuating the citizens. It was a wise choice. It was too unreasonable for the citizens to fight back as long as the factory was in operation. If I didn't know the real revolutionary was hiding somewhere. I moved and could see the atmosphere covered with fine dust. There were the bodies of the fallen nobles and the citizens. Is it going to end like this? Zhang Haiyang looked at the shadow of the factory in the distance and bit his lips. The transformed factory looked like a giant. It was an old giant spewing smoke from a chimney on its head. The giant's hand pulled something out from a nearby building. The dying noble struggled as he was caught by the hands of the factory. Looking closer, it was the Marquise I fought before. Duke! Duke! He shouted painfully before being crushed in the factory's fuel engine. There was the sound of teeth grinding. Heavy flames emerged from the power plant side of the factory as if it was satisfied. Now I was unable to determine how the Duke operated the factory. Zhang Haiyang spoke in a weak voice. Using his old men as a source of power. How can he do that? It means he doesn't care about the industrial complex anymore. Why? Isn't this his industrial complex? I activated Lamarck Kieran instead of replying. It was to temporarily restore my body by using story fragments. Kim Dokja thought, this guy is determined to become the Demon King. A large voice burst out from the head of the factory and challenged the sky. Look, constellations, is this what you want? It was the appearance of a duke fully absorbed in the story he was making. How old was he and how many years had he lived? All beings might just be children in front of the story. The Duke's words caused more constellations to enter BU's channel. Very few constellations are curious about Duke Siswitz's actions. Maybe this wasn't what I looked like. I was reminded of something. It's easy to attract the attention of the constellations. However, creating a good scenario is difficult. It was something the Dokkaebi King in Ways of Survival had once said. I thought this saying was correct. Then I had a thought. What was a good scenario? No. Did it even exist? If we leave, just wait a bit. I stopped Zhang Haiyang and looked up at the factory. The factory and the story weapons produced an unusual force that couldn't be tolerated by the existing probability. In other words, it was perfect for a self-destructive scenario. As expected, sparks burst from the joints of the randomly operating factory. I explained to Zhang Haiyang. Maybe his persuasion energy is lacking. It won't last long if he only has a few nobles. The factory's persuasion energy that was its fuel was made of countless story fragments. The story weapons consumed the persuasion energy and temporarily overcame the probability. It was easy to say that the factory was similar to my current incarnation body. Soon, it would be caught up in a probability storm. However, unlike what I thought, the movements of the factory didn't become dull. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is looking at Sistwitz with pleased eyes. The constellation Nail-Eating Rat is delighted with Sistwitz's destruction. A few constellations are willing to pay for the probability. Damn, it was like this. There were those who paid the probability. Where is the revolutionary hiding? Once again, there was a huge earthquake and the citizens screamed in an awful manner. I leaned against the building for a moment before slowly walking forward. Zheng Haiyang hurriedly grabbed my arm. You will die if you go now. Can't you see that? I measured the durability of my incarnation body. Do I have enough power to get rid of this enemy? I didn't know. Can I kill it if I use electrification and Way of the Wind? I still don't know. Zheng Haiyang, kill the last executioner. I'll somehow take care of the rest. Zheng Haiyang started at my words. Why are you going so far? You can't run away. You aren't a real revolutionary. I hate this damn story. What? It's so obvious. I ran towards the factory. The streets were mostly deserted. Most citizens were trapped inside their houses and holding their breaths. I looked at the scene and remembered Yu Jung-hyuk of the 111th regression. The industrial complex's last knight arrived and the revolutionary didn't appear. Yes, this was expected. However, I wished for a different story. Suddenly, a citizen bleeding against a wall reached out towards me. Revolutionary! What revolution? What was this all about? Why did so many people have to die? Why did this scenario exist? The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is staring at you. The constellation Nail-Eating Rat is yelling towards you. The constellation Dog Who Threw Himself into the Flames wants your destruction. The constellation sent messages towards me. Bu struggled as she saw and was forced to send the messages towards me. I waved my hand to indicate that it was fine. Honestly, I wasn't fine before, but now I was good. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is looking at you. At the very least, one person was on my side. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband wants you to smash that damn scrap heap. I flew into the air.